I just wanna be free with my people to prosper and hold it down. Don't you sit and wait, contemplating on a revolution. The time is now. I just wanna be free. 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 Can't you see? I just wanna be free.
Okay. Another episode of the Things I Wish I Knew About Money podcast. I'm your host, Kamille Smith. How is it going, everyone? Boy. How is it going? It is, I'm going to start off with saying the weather has been amazing. It's been amazing to me. I don't know how others feel about it, but I'm loving it. And I think it's only right for, episode 87 that we talk about things that brings me back to warmth and all that good stuff. First things first, I want to give a shout out to Andre. I'm not sure if I'm able to preach it, but I want to give him a shout out. If anyone has been listening, we always talk about getting other streams of income. And he's always talked about his real estate experience. And Andre, once again, he's gotten 2 properties in Jamaica. So I just wanted to give him a big shout out. Really proud of you. And I'm just excited for your goals that you have, because you are definitely a living example of accumulating assets and instead of liabilities, and just doing it big. So I do commend you and all that good stuff, sir. So yes. So I know you guys see the lovely title, "The Catch Flights, Not Feelings." And the reason why I decided to have this lovely discussion is actually, I don't know if any of you guys have that feature on your phone. I'm pretty sure you guys do. So there's a features that always talks about old memories, not only on your phone, but Facebook especially, right? And one of the things that happened to me 7 years has been on my mind, and also been surfacing on my Facebook. So I always think about it ever so often. And you know what? When tell me if this has happened to you. When you have had experience, like a traumatic experience, and when that anniversary comes back, you kind of feel like low, you have a low vibration. I was like, why am I getting this feeling? Not only because it's full moon and stuff, but because it's almost that time when I will explain it later, when I had a real dramatic time in my life. Well, second dramatic incident in my life. And I just wanted to share it because I'm pretty sure this will help others that, love to travel and all that stuff. But I digress. Man, it's been a minute since I have traveled. It's been last year I traveled. No one knew, but I did travel last year. But I actually traveled somewhere where I always wanted to go. So I always wanted to go to Mexico. And I finally was able to go to Mexico, and it was just a different experience. Like, I wanted to see the Mayan ruins, and I was able to see it and all that good stuff. So I'm really happy that I managed to, live one of my have one of my dreams come true and stuff. Um, what else? I'm trying to think while I'm sharing as well. Um, I also reminiscing about the memories, and if anyone knows, I lived in Korea where I was able to travel mostly. And even though I I traveled before going to Korea, but the most I've traveled when I was in Korea because I was in a different area and all that good stuff. So I would recommend anyone that is living abroad, even with what's going on, try to utilize being in a different part of the world and be able to see different aspects. It's life changing. It's life changing. And I think every time I went on a trip, whether it was with family, friends, or by myself, it's only been once or twice. I got a new understanding of the culture and a new understanding of how big the world is, right? So I definitely would recommend folks, like, if you can, travel, because that's the best experience. Sorry, travel wisely. And when I mean travel wisely, I mean have certain things in order so you'll be able to travel, Example, okay, well, let's get this first. Let's get this straight first. When I was younger, I went to Jamaica a couple times. A couple times, yeah. I think I went to Jamaica was when I was 7. And then when I went back, I was 16, 17, turning 17. And then I think I went every 2 years until I graduated university. And then I finally started going, like, living abroad and traveling over there. So my experience as a child and a teenager was totally different from when I became like a young adult, grown adult, and traveling. I definitely didn't take in the expenses, obviously, when I was a child or a young teen, because I didn't get the concept. But I learned a lot. Give me a second. I will show y'all what I learned. So first things first with traveling is, I would say, you have to save for traveling, whether it's having a sinking fund or a travel fund, whichever. And I'll give you a story. So there was a time, the last time I went to Jamaica was 2016, and I thought I wasn't going to be able to go. So what happened was my god sister told me, like, in February, March, like, yo, Cam, we're gonna plan to go to Jamaica. Are you down? I'm like, count me in. I don't know how, but count me in. But I was very worried about actually, like, booking my flight and stuff, because I didn't think I had enough money. However, and remember what I always say, make sure you save every paycheck and stuff. So every paycheck, I would save money towards my savings account, aka sinking account, savings account, whatever you want to call it. So there was a time when I had enough money to actually book my flight. By the time it was like April, May, I had enough money to book my flight. And I was like, Sweet, let's go, right? So that was one thing, is being able to have that uh have that sinking fund or travel fund to be able to go on a flight. So I want you guys to be sure. And I know this is what happens all the time, especially if you're a traveler. Shout out to all my travelers. I call them wonderlists. I could have said that on the title, but I wanted to say this one as a joke. Um, I would say anyone that loves to travel, you should have a travel fund. Point blank, period. If you already know that you're gonna be traveling every so often, you should have a travel fund. It should be called travel fund. I don't care if it's with Simply, Tangerine, or whatever, but if you want a link, I can give y'all. I don't care. You should have account, right? First things first is having an account so you know. Second thing is knowing when to go, actually. And I mean, it's either knowing when to go, or because of when your birthday is, it could be very expensive. Because I know a lot of people like to travel while it's their birthday. So shout out to the December babies. But that is actually one of the high peaks of traveling. But I wanted to give you guys some tips and all that stuff. So I envy the fall babies, because that is actually the low peak time when to actually go to certain places, and that's when, it's more affordable. But I did, do some research. Hope you guys are ready for some research on like when's the best times to actually like go on vacation. Well, first things first, I already told you um, how to prepare to go on vacation or traveling is having a sinking fund or travel fund. Tip number one is, when is the best time to fly out, or best time to book a flight? And you'd be surprised. There's actually a time when it's actually the best time or best day to actually book. And the first one is, did you know if you book on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, it's actually cheaper to travel? Or sorry, the best days to book are on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. You'll actually see that the prices fluctuate. And another tip, do not constantly Google, or Google or Bing, whatever you want to call it, on your computer, or like on your laptop. You have to go in incognito, okay? So remember, don't let the Google search book that you're actually looking for flights, because you'll be surprised. It will actually be more expensive and stuff. But I digress. So the best day to book flights for domestic travel is on Tuesdays. The cheapest day is Tuesday, but there's also Wednesday. I don't know why. I guess it's less likely for people to be searching, because like people are looking like Monday or the weekends when they're actually off of work and all this stuff. And what else? What about the best day to book flights for international travel is actually, once again, Tuesday. And I know also, here's another tip, it's more affordable when you're looking 4 months before you're about to take a trip. Or actually anything between 30 to 50 days. Those are when it's the cheapest, right? Why? I don't know. But I guess they expect like the last minute people to be like, oh, we need to grab those last minute people, skyrocket and stuff, right? So it's always great to plan out your vacation period like months ahead. So like if I was going away for my birthday, which I'm not, I would be looking now, right? And I would be able to see affordable prices. But I wouldn't look today because I think on the weekends it's actually more expensive. And actually, the best time of the day to look is, even though I'm not up at this time, 6 a.m. in the morning is the best times to look. So be on the lookout, or even try to look around 3 p.m. It says. I didn't used to do this when I was living in Korea. I would just be like, yo, I'm gonna fly out whenever. But I did notice like what the last three years when I was traveling, I was setting it at looking at it at a certain time and a certain day to be booking flights. So it actually does work, especially if you do it incognito. What's another thing that I learned? Flights. So if anyone knows me, I'm what's the word? I like to call myself frugal. Some people will call me cheap or barata, which is cheap in Spanish. Don't worry, it's nothing bad, depending on who you talk to. But definitely, I I like affordable flights. But I've learned in my years that affordable flights cause headaches, a lot of headaches, many headaches, right? So, example, when I was in Korea, I went to Japan. So I flew to Japan, and because I was on vacation, I afterwards flew to Thailand. Cheese! So the Japan flight was fine. It was like a 30-minute, 40-minute flight. I had no worries. From Japan to Thailand, I wanted the cheapest flight, so I took a flight that was like a no-name flight. I had a layover, but the flight was affordable, right? I think I'll never take that flight again. I can't remember the airline right now at this very moment because that's how horrible it was. But I will never, if anyone told me to take that flight, I'm not. But I'll definitely put it in the comments after when I remember the name. Let me tell you, I had a layover to Malaysia. So I had a layover to Malaysia before I got to Thailand. Normally on a flight, you get water, drinks, or a snack. These people did nothing. If you wanted to have a snack or a drink, you had to pay for it. And at that time, I had switched from, imagine having Korean money and yen, Japanese money. Yo, these people didn't accept that money. So I was just there in the flight for 7 hours, 7 hours, hungry, thirsty, and all that stuff. And I was cheese. I was like, I can't believe this flight would not even give me water. So I was like, nah, I'm not doing this ever again. So then I got to Thailand, and there's just so many stories. So I got to Thailand, and I could tell you, Thailand was my first alone trip compared to Korea and stuff in Japan, because I went with friends. Thailand was my first alone trip, and I love Thailand. I love Thailand. You'll even see it in the thumbnail that I showed a photo of being in Thailand. But that was when I learned about scammers. Yo, from jump, these people were able to pull a fast one on me. And I was like, dang. So rule number one, folks, rule number one, do not exchange money at the airport. don't exchange, or if you're gonna exchange money at the airport, please go to a legit foreign exchange, foreign exchange booth. I was young. I was really young. This was probably like 8 years ago. I was hungry. I wasn't thinking. I had three different currencies. I was trying to change Korean, yen, and Malaysian money to Thai. Is it Thai bet? I think. Don't quote me on it. But I was trying to change my Thai money, and I knew from the jump it was wrong when it was just a regular booth, like a random booth, and they're like, "Oh, you need to change your money. Come." And I was like, yeah. Sorry, I have these different currencies. They're like, no worries. I was like, oh, can I have my receipt, please? And they're like, no receipt. And I was like, shit. I got scammed. I already knew from the jump when they said there is no receipt. I knew I was screwed. As soon as I left outside the airport, I see a foreign exchange place. Because mind you, it was nighttime, and these people told me that they were closed. Tip number 2, it's better to travel in the day than at nighttime, because when you're there at nighttime, they're more certain countries, not all countries, are prone to like pull a fast one. Once they see a foreigner or once they see someone that's not from there, they will try to scam you. So that was another thing I learned. The luckiest thing I had was the place I stayed at. I already had booked like an airport shuttle before, so they didn't pull a fast one on me there. Well, they tried. Like they stopped at this random spot to like have tourists like book excursions and stuff, and I was like, nah, I'm not doing this. So always beware of like the excursions, because sometimes it's cheaper to either book it online or you can get a deal when you're like at the hotel or on the strip, like walking. So that's another tip. Another tip is do not. I mean, right now, because Uber is very popular, I would say get an Uber, but don't trust those taxi mans during the nighttime, especially because they are wild. They will jip you, right? Um, there's so many stories. I want to tell you guys a big one, but I just remember there's so many stories. Ooh, tip number, I feel like I've been giving so many tips. Another tip is make sure on your phone you have the foreign exchange on your phone, so you're able to like calculate. You don't want to calculate in your head how much something should be, just have it on your phone. Also have a world clock on your phone. Funny story, I went to a country where I thought, this is actually really embarrassing. So last time I went to Mexico, I thought I was an hour behind and kept getting to places late, right? And I'm like, yo, this is so wild. Like, why do I feel like I'm always late to these events? Finding out that it's the same time zone as Canada, and I never changed my world clock. So guys, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you have the world clock so you're able to know what time it is. I know it was silly, but it happened. It happened, right? Another tips. So don't take cheap flights, because there's another example of taking a cheap flight. So one time I went to Florida, or Miami's Carnival. Like all family and us, we wanted to go, and it was a cheap flight. It was Spirit. Anyone that knows Spirit knows how trash they are. Sorry, I don't want to get. This is just for entertainment purposes only. However, a certain airline that I took Let's just say there was one day where it was raining. It was raining really, really hard. So we're leaving Fort Lauderdale to go back to Detroit and stuff. And we were on the runway for the longest time because there was lightning and thunder and stuff, and they didn't want to take off, obviously. Let me tell you how the airplane ran out of gas. It was at that moment I knew I will never take cheap flights or cheap airlines. Maybe I'll take airlines that are more recognizable and able to you can trust, because there's some, like, I guess Air Canada, even though Air Canada has been going through some things, I don't know what's going on these days, but Air Canada, WestJet, I'll trust. Shoot, Egypt Air. Egypt Airlines wasn't bad. I would love to go on Emirates. That was one of my dreams when I went to Dubai. Um, I trust the airlines that actually say where, like, the country it is, and stuff. Those are the ones that I love going to, right? But those airlines are very nice too. They know how to treat their guests, especially if it's a further flight. If it's a further flight, like anything 7 hours, they're gonna have like accommodations for you mostly, especially the well-known airlines. They're gonna have those type of, like, not desserts, drinks, snacks and stuff. And for people that are like have allergies or certain food, you want to book those type of meals ahead of time and make sure they have the type of food, because there's been times when I don't eat meat. Well, I eat seafood and poultry, but there was a time when I was just eating veggies, right? And they didn't even have that. They're like, oh, sorry, just beef and pork. And I'm like, wait, what? You don't even have options for folks that are vegetarian? But you can also take food with you on your flights, which is odd. But sorry, I digress. What's another tip? So we have keep it travel. I'll stick to the TTC. Oh, yeah. Hello, Omar. Welcome. So there's some big tips that you wanna to keep in mind. Have a travel fund for those folks that like to travel. Be aware when to book a flight, whether it's 30 days or 50 days ahead of schedule, or the times like Tuesdays or Wednesdays. And also beware of the type of airlines that you take, because they make or break your experience, actually. Now, when it comes to where you stay is really important too, because let me tell you this. I think this is where it gets interesting of how Bali was, but whatever. So also I've done cruises, I've done hostels, I've been in Airbnbs, I've been in hotels. Which ones do I prefer? I mean, on a cruise ship, you feel like you're stuck. But that was like what my family loved to do. And the last cruise that we went on was in Alaska. And I'm actually very, really fortunate that I went. Even though we were supposed to go on a family trip 2020, but we all know what happened. So I think Alaska will always be in my memories of like a full family trip where we all went together and enjoyed most of the moments. I don't I love a cruise, as in you're able to go to many places depending on where you go. If you go into the Caribbean, you're able to touch down to many islands. That's how I was able to go to many islands. Um, but you're like confined on this one ship. Oh, sometimes I had anxiety. Actually, the first time I went on a cruise ship, I was seasick. I was seasick. Like legit, like my body just popped down. Like my mom was like, "Ooh, you got seasick, didn't you?" I'm done. I'm done. What is this feeling? I don't get it. So if you do get seasick, I heard, well, it did help for me, is green apple. Have a green apple. I think it's soup as well. Do that and you'll feel better. Or I think you're supposed to take something before, but whatnot. Um, I've done backpacking. So I've done, or should I talk about hostels? No, I'll talk about hostels. So I first experience in a hostel was when I was in Korea. Let me tell you, yo. So pretend this is like my bag, because I was so paranoid on how hostel living was. Oh, I slept like this. I was like, ain't no one robbing me. Mind you, that was in 2013 was, or 2014 was the first time I went to a hostel. And I was like, yo, no one's robbing me. Are you crazy? Um, However, I digress. Uh, a hostel was a different experience. It was like you're sharing a bathroom and you're sharing a bathroom. So it's like roughing it like camping, but you have a bed. I wouldn't recommend it ideally, because I know how to rough it because I've gone camping and stuff, but I just need a nice bathroom, right? I've been at motels. I was looking back with me and Kayla, or Kayla and I, sorry. Shout out to my god sister. When we went to the Philippines, we stayed at this motel because we had to catch another flight, a cheap flight, which was always a mess. We were catching a flight, and it was the dirtiest motel I've ever been in my life. To the point where I slept on the chair. I was like, no, sir, me nah sleep on this bed. Like, nope. I just decided to sleep on the chair. That's when I knew motels were not for me. So then I stepped up to either Airbnbs, hotels, or resorts. Gosh, have I been to resort? Yes, you're so silly, sir. So Airbnbs, in my opinion, are better than booking a hotel. The reason why is with the Airbnb, I once remember when I went to Turks and Caicos. I know I'm living large. Sorry, I'm joking. I went to Turks and Caicos, and for 1 week or a couple days. Actually, no, 1 week we stayed at an Airbnb home. Had a whole like what 2 bedrooms, living room, kitchen, veranda, and all that stuff. It was amazing. We were able to get our own drinks. We were able to cook our own food, and it was amazing. We had enough space. And then the next week we went into a hotel just to, have a different experience. Huh. We went from a big ass house, 2 bedrooms and all that stuff, to one room, double beds. Double bed? Yeah. And it was like we were like squished up and stuff. And it was annoying. It was no. It wasn't annoying. It wasn't annoying. It wasn't annoying. I said that wrong. It was too cramped, and we didn't have the space that we had before. So it was like, yeah, we were able to get food, only breakfast though. Um, But when we were at the Airbnb, we had more space. That's what I mean with annoying. We had more space and we were able to do our own thing. With the one bedroom, it was just cramped and all that stuff, right? So I would recommend Airbnb. I don't care what you say, Omar. Airbnbs are not nasty unless you go to one that is dirty. But you have to make sure when you go to an Airbnb and a hotel as well, is to check the reviews. Check the reviews. And when it comes to Airbnb person, you want to make sure if they're a super host, super host, that means they're excellent and they make sure that the people that are staying there have the best experience whatsoever. Even when I'm not going to talk about that time. I'm going to talk about when I went to Bali. Actually, another thing before I even talk about that experience. So when you're traveling, make sure you get travel insurance. I know Rennie, she's traveling and she was mentioning if you can afford to travel, you should be able to afford travel insurance. And you know what? Before I was like, yo, travel insurance is a waste of money, da 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 da. Every time I didn't have travel insurance, something happened. Something always happened. So I will share my experience in Bali. So Kayla and I were in Bali, and this was 7 years ago. I think if it's not today, it's the 24th. So anyone that's going to be listening to this will see that this is my 7th year anniversary of traumatizing time. So I'm going to paint a picture for y'all. We were in Bali. We were in a cheap hotel. It wasn't an Airbnb. It was a hotel that we booked on like booking.com. It was probably a 2-star, 3-star place. To the point where we had to get the sheets changed. Like I said, cleanliness is very important. And it was in a back row. So mind you, I always lose my my IDs, so driver's license. So in Korea, I lost my IDs and I was using my passport as ID. So we went out at night. We were coming back home. It was probably 3 or 4 in the morning, and we kind of got lost. So another tip. Normally, I'm really good at directions, but I wasn't aware of my surroundings that night, right? So we were walking back home, and I'm gonna reenact it as much as I can. So I had something like this, a bag like this, and my camera bag. Walking in the side path, I'll call it. I seen these 2 guys on a scooter scooting. And I was like, yo, what are these guys doing late at night? Lo and behold, 2 seconds after I thought that, snatch. I tried to hold on to my camera bag and I tried to hold on to my purse. My purse was gone. I said, ah! I screamed because I was shocked and appalled, first of all, that they stole from me. I was shocked and appalled that they stole it from me. But I was like, like just a reaction, like shockness, right? So I had sandals on. I was gonna run after them. I was like, fuck it. I have sandals on. I'm not gonna catch them, fam. But then I remembered in my bag, I had Kayla's phone, I had my passport, I had my money, everything. Everything was gone. And I said, no. Mind you, I'm not gonna call you out, sis. I'm not gonna call you out. But Kayla, you're here. Thank you. Kayla and I are scared of roaches. When we were walking on that path, we were seeing some big, dirty cockroaches. And she ran. So she was she was in front of me. So she thought I was just like was screaming over a cockroach and dipped. Yo, all I know is Kayla and I had gotten a hold of those guys, we probably would be in jail. So I'd be in jail because I'm stomping them. This is for entertainment purposes only, folks. So this is in Bali. So we tried to run to the nearest restaurant and say, 911, 911, help. Ladies and gentlemen, you should know some language when you go to a certain country as well. That's another one. You need to learn some of the like key words in a country, especially if it's a different language, like completely. They couldn't help us. We try to go back to the hotel. These people start laughing at us. Words could not express how angry I was. But I kept my composure and not fight. Kayla wanted to fight them, but I was like, no, Kayla, it's okay. It's okay. So thank heavens Kayla had her passport still, but my passport was gone. That was the first moment I've ever felt defeated in my life because I was like, what do I do? So it's 3-4 a.m. in the morning over there, and it's 12 hours difference in Toronto. So I was worried. I didn't want to stress my family out. I was like, no, how can I figure it out? So I tried to find my phone with the iPhone. That didn't work because I cut off. Tried to go to the police station. That didn't work. They're whatless. This hotel didn't even have frigging 911 or police station. They basically was like, they had the locksmith, they had KFC, but they didn't have the number to phone the police and stuff. So I was like, but I have to give a shout out to my amazing friends. Jasmine, I hope you get to hear this. Jasmine was able to book me a hotel. So we stayed at the Best Western Hotel to figure out stuff because here's the kicker, guys. Here's the kicker. My passport got stolen the day of me leaving to go to our next country, right? What are the odds, right? So that's why it's important to have travel insurance, because I would have been able to cancel that next flight and get my money back. But no, I couldn't because I didn't have travel insurance. So that's the reason why I say get travel insurance. God bless my mom. She was able to extend the hotel at Best Western because I was stuck in Bali. And that's another story. I'm trying to remember everything. I get I get really emotional when I think about this story, yo. Not emotional because Kayla, that I know you remember, that was the first time that anyone was able to see me cry, like, because I did not know what to do. I didn't know how to tell my folks. I didn't know how to solve this issue. Um, the joke was I I had a booklet. I had a booklet of what to do and stuff, right? So I was like, and I was reading a book about Bali, how people get robbed and everything, but I get robbed. So I called the Canadian embassy. The Canadian embassy was in Jakarta. They're like, oh, well, you're in Bali. You're balling. You have to send us this money. And I'm like, I don't have money to send you out. They're like, okay, what about your parents' credit cards? And I'm like, wow, this is how it is, huh? This is how it is. Cool, cool, cool. So whatever. I was able to scrap up things to get my information to get a new passport. There's a lot of procedures when it comes to getting a new passport or even an emergency passport. Mind you, for Canadians and Americans, our passport is navy blue, right? I think, and obviously there's different countries with different colors, right? For emergency passport for Canadians, it's white. Hold on. There's a bigger story for that after. I know there's a lot of, I see how long I've been talking, but I just really want to discuss this part because there are going to be people that get stuck abroad and will not know what to do. And hopefully they'll be able to see this and figure out certain things. That's why I'm doing it, because I think it's really important to know how to figure out these things when you're stuck abroad. Make sure you have great people in your corner, because I have amazing people in my corner. Shout out Kayla, Tamla, all of them that was there to help a sister stay sane. And shout out Bali's Best Western, because a person understood my situation, and I don't think I can talk about that. They accommodated me very well. But I digress. Okay, so my passport was stolen. I shouldn't have had my passport on me. I should have had it. I should have a photocopy of my passport. That's another tip. Everyone, make sure you don't get robbed. Make sure you have things under your clothes, not where it can be seen, especially in the dark or at nighttime. Make sure you have things organized, because there's only one reason why I was able to leave, and that was because I had a photocopy of my Korean alien card. But I digress. Sorry. I get very when it comes to the story. So we go to a different hotel. Kayla has to leave because she had to leave because she had to go back to Toronto. So same time Kayla left, my older god sister Tamla she was coming to Bali. I was like, yeah, come to me, please. I need someone here with me. I don't know what to do. But mind you, even though I semi-hate Bali, I loved those $10 Thai massages. Ooh, child. I scraped up money just to get them. It just helped me relax, right? So, oh, stop it. Yes, I got robbed from Scar City. She's so silly. But, okay, so when she got there, we were still doing tourist things and all that stuff. And shout out Bali for having like a private driver. That's when I felt like a big boss or something. But sorry, digress. So you're doing tourist things. So then it's time to freaking leave. I was able to get my passport. I thought I was able to listen to all these you're so silly. I thought I was able to get all the procedures done for the passport, right? So boom. I remember I was only supposed to book for 5 days for the Best Western. My mom prolonged it like 4 more days. And I was cheesed at her. I was like, why would you spend more money? And she's like, you'll never know what happens. Da 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 da. So my game plan was, okay, I was gonna do a Southeast Asia travel, but that got squashed because every place I was gonna go after, I had no money. So I had to go back to South Korea where I was more secure and I had money. I would get a card back and I'd be able to be more secure and safe. I feel like when I was in Korea, I was at my prime, I was safe and all that good stuff, right? So boom. Um, um, my family, we kind of have like a travel agent lady. So I was trying to book a flight to go back to South Korea, a one-way flight, right? So, nope. Oh, sorry. This is what happened. So I was going to go to Thailand. I was gonna go to Thailand. I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna go to Thailand. This was the first time I have had a flight canceled. And I was like, what do I do? So I said, screw it, run this. I'm not doing this travel like Southeast Asia. I'm just gonna go straight back to Korea. So it was like 11 p.m. My time in Thailand. So it was 11 a.m. in Toronto. Called up the travel agent, asked her to book a flight. She said, can't. Oof. So then I had to wait 24 hours. I was like, okay. So mind you, Tama was at the spot. She's like, why are you back here? I was like, my flight got canceled. I don't know what to do. And then I try again the next day. So 24 hours come. I'm going on a flight to leave Bali. Frigging the flight gets delayed. By the way, gets better. There was a volcano eruption in Jakarta. So that was the reason why the flight to Thailand was canceled completely. But the flight to Korea that day of still went. But this time, 24 hours later, they couldn't go. And I was like, yo, fam, can you just leave? Can we just leave? I just want to leave this place, right? So I go back to the hotel. And I have to wait until they call to let me know that it's good to go. So it's like a 12-hour wait. So the next day comes, it's 12 o'clock the very next day. I get there. I get there. The domestic airport and the international airport is completely closed. At that very moment, I was like, I am never leaving here. I don't think I'm ever seeing my family ever again. Like, I was in so much terror. I was like just thinking about it, I remember how I felt, and I was like, I don't think I'm ever gonna see my family ever again. I'm gonna set up shop here. Like, what the heck? And it was a scary feeling. And I do remember that I really wanted to help people. That was the reason why I started blogging, because I wanted to help people on how to deal with these situations, because I think it's absolutely ridiculous, right? So the airport was closed. So I once again go back to the hotel. And at that time, Tama was trying to go to a local spot too. So she had to go back. And they finally called us like 6 hours later and saying, yeah, everything's good to go. You can come. Remember how I said the white passport, right? So then I get to the airport. They take my luggage and the man's like, you can't go. And I'm like, sir, why? Oh, you have what passport is this? And I'm like, sir, it's an emergency passport. He's like, you can't go. And I'm like, sir, can I look at your screen, please? So we look at a screen and it says like mandatory, mandatory passport, da 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 da, exception, emergency passport. And I was like, look at this, look, look. What does that mean? And mind you, if I could have just give him one, I would have, because I just wanted to leave. And he was just annoying. So he was like, sorry, go, go, go. But the thing is, when I said I thought I did all the procedures for my passport, you know, when you get to the area where they check and then put a stamp, the man laughed, looked at my passport, laughed, and he's like, you can't get on. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You didn't get a certain stamp to declare that you were here. And I'm like, my passport was stolen. This emergency passport says it all, right? So then, oh gosh, I remember like it's yesterday. So I go into the airport security part, and the man's telling me that I can't leave. They have my stuff, and the only thing that helped me was having my scanned Korean alien card. And the man's like, you can't leave. Yo, fam. Woo! At that point, this is when WhatsApp just got phone calls and stuff. So I called my mom and I started bawling. I started bawling. Like, she was so worried because she just knew, like, she heard stories like what happens with human trafficking and all that stuff. And I just thought I would like never see her again. And the man saw how distraught I was, and he was like, yo, are you sure? Are you sure you're able to go back to Korea and there's no issues? Da, 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 da. I was like, I promise. And he's like, are you sure you'll never do this ever again? I was like, trust me, I am never doing this ish again. I was like, you were able to go. And I remember I was not content leaving until that flight took off, and I was at least in the air for an hour. And I remember I was bawling because I was so happy. And I remember what song was I listening to? I was listening to Mariah Carey's Butterfly. I'm not even gonna play the song, but I started bawling. And I'm just saying, and Kayla's saying it, it was a rough trip, but it was fun. I'm not gonna say Bali was like a terrible time. It's just that part of my trip was so dramatic and so traumatic to me that I learned a lot. So after that, I started photocopying my passport. I was putting money in different areas. I made sure I didn't have everything in one bag or and stuff, right? You're so silly. So for me to say, like, there's so many things that I learned from my adventures, that one, being frugal or cheap is not the best thing. Having travel insurance helps for situations like that, because there was even another time where there was a flight that was delayed, and but I got my money back for that one. And also, what's another one? Travel insurance is important. Keeping your money separate in different places, and also just being prepared. And do not, actually, this is another one. When it comes to flights, try to have flights that are connected with that airline, because They will know if there's a delay with one flight, they're willing to wait for you next time, right? Oh, geez. Yo, that sorry, I'm looking at the time again. It was just my travel experiences have been amazing. Every time I've been on a trip, whether it was with family, friends, I never. Oh, so these are the type of trips I've done. I wanna have it light because you guys were about to see me cry, but I'm not crying because I'm a G. I'm joking. Um, the type of the type of trips that you should try is family, especially if you're very close and cool. Those are fun times. And even if, like, if one person doesn't have like money to do excursion, the whole family will make sure everyone enjoys it, right? You can go on a trip alone, but you really have to prepare wisely. Passports, money, keep it all together and stuff. You can have with friends, and those are fun. I've had a girls trip or a ladies trip. That was fun. Big up Barbados. That was 10 years ago. That was fun. I don't think, actually, yeah, I have had ladies trips. Last year was a ladies trip as well. That was fun. Um, think I've been on one vacation, or like as they say, I won one once. That's fun, depending on, if your significant other is. I think when you go on a trip with a significant other, be mindful of the activities that y'all like to do and stuff. And also friends, be mindful of what activities you want to do, whether there's going to be a time when you guys all come together and do everything, or if you want to do your separate thing. I remember last time I was having a hissy fit and I was like, I'll do it by myself. I don't care. But it's okay to do things together, right? Also souvenirs. So souvenirs, I would get my dad Coca-Cola, anything. Yo, if anyone's traveled with me, you would know that I would go searching for Coca-Cola. I'm like, I need this Coca-Cola bottle for my dad, no matter what, right? And then even my mom, she loved collectible spoons. And still I'm gonna be collecting them, especially like places that we haven't been. So definitely keep doing that. I like to collect sand. I know people that like to collect shot glasses and stuff, or rum, like me. So when it comes to souvenirs and stuff, have a budget for that. And also with traveling, the reason why I say travel fund, make sure you have, enough money. And at least if you have your credit card, like for a wild night, just know that you got to pay that shit back when you get home. There was a time when legit, actually, last couple times I went away, there was incidents with my car, and I had money because I have different saving funds, yeah, or sinking funds. I never had to worry about the money that I had on the trip because I still had money to pay my bills and pay for repairs. So make sure when you travel, just make sure you have all that stuff taken care of. And this thinking about that story just made my head wild. So I'm glad you, ladies and gentlemen, were here to share. I'm going to read the chat afterwards. Thank you, Kayla, for reaching. Thank you, Omar, for reaching. I wanna everyone that was involved with that Bali experience. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. Like, there's no way anything can happen between us because you were there at my lowest times. Like, words can't express how much y'all mean to me and stuff. But I think this is a lovely episode. I feel like one time I'm gonna try to bring on like a travel agent or someone or another person that has expertise in traveling. Kayla, I see you, so I'm gonna call you out on how to, like, travel on a budget but wisely. So thank you everyone for coming through, and next week is Caravana time. We want to make sure you guys are responsible. The prices out there are crazy, but I will definitely have something about that next week. But till next time, folks, it was a pleasure sharing this story because someone needs to hear it. And I know there's someone, I hope anyone that's out there that's stranded has people around them to be able to guide them to the right place. And I definitely want to have a scholarship or something, or like something to help folks that are stranded abroad or need to find resources. I'll definitely put that into play in the future. And when it comes to traveling, just enjoy, live your dreams, follow your dreams. And even if you have a bad experience while traveling, this too shall pass. And shout out to my mom for always having my back. She will always have my back no matter what. And on that note, folks, till next time. I'm struggling on the comment. There we go. Till next time, folks.
Anyway,
God of Fame Music.
a ville, flip, flash, money, literacy boss. Flip, flash, money, literacy boss. Flip, flash, money, literacy boss. Flip, flash. Anyway, chop, flip and flash, money, literacy boss.
Choo!